007.
My God, what's Bond doing?
I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.
Welcome to episode 91 of the Central Intelligence Cinema Podcast. Today we're headed back to space as we do the second part of our Moonraker review. So, without further ado, take it away, Mr. Brosnan.
Beg your pardon, forgot to knock.
Welcome to the CIC, initiating security clearance.
Who are you?
Bond. James Bond.
Pussy galore.
Felix Leiter.
His name's Jaws. He kills people.
And Stavro Blofeld.
Identity confirmed.
Now, pay attention, 007.
Welcome to Central Intelligence Cinema, a podcast dedicated to spy movies and secret agent pop culture.
Bond, what do you think you're doing?
Keeping the British hand up, sir.
You amuse me, Mr. Bond.
Do you expect me to talk?
Sorry, old man. Section 26, paragraph 5. Need to know. Sure you understand.
Goodbye, Mr. Bond.
Recording from an uncharted moon! Wait, that's no moon! It's the Central Intelligence Cinema Podcast. I'm Ben Esslinger, and with me, as should always be the case, Jason Greenberg.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Central Intelligence Cinema Podcast. If you're with us today, that means you were probably with us last time, which means you know we didn't have enough time to finish yet another James Bond review. Just like, I think we're at what now? We're like 4-0 or something like that on double episodes or something on James
At
Bond
least,
podcast.
Yeah. Even never say never again, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that was going to be kind of our deciding thing. Is it a real Bond podcast if it doesn't take 2 episodes to get through it?
Right.
So I think tens of listeners out there, we're just going to have to accept the fact that if we do James Bond, you're stuck listening to us twice. Of course, you always have the option of saying, I just don't want to listen to you, but we hope that's never going to be the case.
Why would you ever want to say that? Why would you ever want to say such a thing?
Well, I feel it's important. I feel it's important to let the tens know that they are free to make their own choices. I don't want them to feel like we're in some sort of a Stockholm syndrome thing here, where they've just been with us for so long that they're just going along to get along to keep us happy.
They just they're trying to take good care of our egos, or just trying to make us feel good about ourselves.
I don't want any Patty Hearsts in our in our group, unless of course it is Patty Hearst. In which case, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, Patty Hearst.
Oh my gosh! So yes, we are getting ready to embark on part 2 of our Moonraker review, which, if you all remember from the last podcast, we're both pretty happy with the movie in general, and we're kind of looking forward to chugging along on the rest of this.
Indeed. Was kind of a surprise hit for both of us after, I think we were both kind of away from it for a while.
Oh, for sure, me.
Yeah, and so it's been a pleasant surprise, and should we just jump right back into it?
Yeah, we should. We don't want to waste anybody's time any longer than we have to.
Okay.
So when last we left our hero and his sash-minding assistant, we were headed out to check out the C&W warehouse. Surprise, surprise. Right in the midst of Carnival, because you can't go to Rio de Janeiro unless you're in the midst of Carnival.
Exactly. I mean, why? I mean, it's like every time Bond goes somewhere, there's always like a huge thing. The biggest thing going on in that area, there's something going on. When he goes to Mexico, we get the Day of the Dead, which they literally had to make a new thing so that there was a big thing that he could go to while he's there.
Well, it wasn't in Live and Let Die, wasn't it during Mardi Gras? Aren't they in New Orleans at some point in time in there?
Yes, it was.
So it's like...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the Eiffel Tower being in every movie that has to establish you're in Paris. If they go someplace that has a thing, it has to be happening during the thing. And damn it if Moonraker didn't jump right into that full feet. Woo!
At least Bond does it with events and not, like you said, with like bam, there's the Eiffel Tower. Bam,
Right,
there's the, whatever major landmark of whatever region
the
you happen
Empire
to be
State
in.
Building, or the Chrysler Building, or the White House.
Right.
Or the Louvre, or wherever.
Exactly.
Well, that's okay. At least when James Bond brings in the Eiffel Tower, he literally brings in the Eiffel Tower. So we'll give him kudos for that. Although, to be fair, Superman did it first. But I digress. So we cut back down to Rio where the carnival, as I said, is going on. Bond is, of course, in a full tux like you do at Carnival.
Yeah, when it's 1,000 degrees.
I mean, you could see all the people in tuxes in the crowd.
So many tuxes.
So many tuxes.
Of course, when there's 200% humidity, why wouldn't you?
I mean, we don't know. It could have been some sort of Q-oriented breathable fabric tuxedo, but I'm guessing not.
I'm guessing not as well.
I mean, she's in this light, summery, bright-colored dress, right? And he's dressed to the nines, yes.
Of course.
But, of course. And, and like everything else, they have to cut through the crowd to get to the building, rather than, just take a circumspect route to get where they need to go.
Right. They couldn't just show up at the right side.
Yep. We have to indicate we're in Carnival. Well, have them walk across. Won't they get trampled by all the drunk people? It's James Bond. Of course not. So anyway, they crowd surf their way through the Carnival crowd down to, of course, a back alley where they see the letters painted up on the wall of the building, and Bond's like, well, I guess I have to climb in my tuxedo. Good thing I'm camouflaged. And to give him credit, Raj at least looks like he starts the climbing.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how many steps he actually took before the stunt guy took over? But, props, I guess.
It was an effort. And meanwhile, Bond's like, just hang out here and don't talk to any strange men, And she kind of looks down, and
that is such a weird.
Yeah,
that just seemed like lazy writing. Honestly, that was a little bit of we need a hook here so that we can come back around once he's back out and saves her from Jaws, because we know that's going to happen.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you couldn't have thought of something better than just hang out and wait for straight men, or strange men. Straight men too, I suppose. I don't suppose non-straight men would be a threat to a woman. So
exactly,
but not something like guard the entrance, keep an eye out on things, hug the wall, make yourself sparse, whatever. It's just hang out and don't get raped. Okay, if you could avoid getting raped, that would be great. I mean, okay, thanks, James. So anyway, she seems cool with it. She seems cool with it. So Bond scampers up Spider-Man style, gets into the building and looks around. And surprise, surprise, he finds a Drax air freight sticker because, like the great Elon Musk, Drax has his fingers apparently in everything.
Yes.
Also, I want one of those stickers.
I kind of do too, actually. It was kind of a cool sticker.
Whoever designed all of the logo stuff for this thing did a bang-on job of making it look pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, you had that, to reiterate what we said in part 1 of our review. I mean, you had the dream team as far as production design in this movie. We had Ken Adam, we had Peter Lamont, we had John Richardson and Mark Meddings. So one of those guys, I'm sure, had their hands in some of that. And
I'm just hoping it was some lower tier graphic designer that got it needs to look spacey. And he's like, okay, I think I could do that.
That would be really cool. What if that kickstarted his career or something?
Maybe.
They were like, well, man, you did a bang up job on the Moonraker stickers. You're hired.
Well, what's the thing is that back in the day when people had to use pencil and paper and ink and stuff, back dinosaurs like you and I were younger.
Correct.
I always used to watch the movies to see if they were very graphic heavy, to see if they listed him as a graphic designer or if they were just part of the production team. Because sometimes you would see, graphic design, interior, exterior, marker design. I mean, various different things. Like the guy who did Alien, Ron Cobb, and the other guy's name escapes me. They designed basically everything, from interiors, mechanical equipment, everything, but all the logo types, everything else that went in there to get that nice, coherent feel to everything that's in it.
Right.
And I love that kind of... Sid Mead is the big guy who did that. It's the futurist guy. He was the one who would come up with entire worlds and all the kind of little minutia that went with it. But I don't know, that stuff just... I just love that stuff. Maybe it's because that's what I wanted to do when I was a wee lad. But this stuff, all of it, all of the graphic-oriented, signage-oriented stuff in this film was pretty amazing, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. But that's the stuff that makes movies better.
Agreed.
In such a subtle way that just sort of, those details, the whole devil in the details saying.
Right. I mean, you don't logically see if people don't, unless you're a nerd like me, you don't go and say, oh, they changed fonts here. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Right. Or that sign is garbage. Why do we even have that here? It doesn't say what they're saying it's saying.
Right.
And I think it subconsciously stands out to people when it's bad.
Yeah.
And it doesn't register at all when it's good.
Right.
That's my thinking on it. What do I know?
You know things.
I'm not a scholar. I know what I know. I'm just a Lower East Side graphic designer looking for an opportunity. That's all I am.
That's right.
All right. Well, anyway, digressing back from our digression, Bond finds a freight sticker, and as he's going through, we cut back to the alley periodically where we just see this really big, weird, lumbering, disturbing clown thing walking down the alleyway at far too slow a pace for it to really be a threat, but there it is.
Right.
And it's walking towards Manuela. Eventually it gets to her, and off comes the gigantic clown mask, and surprise, surprise, it's Jaws. Were you surprised it was Jaws?
I was not surprised, because only one very, very tall clown thing, there could only be one thing under that giant clown thing, unless it's like, three midgets, on... that are stacked on top of each other.
Right.
But I'm going to go with Jaws
petite
instead.
Women. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I got to say, I'm not really sure why he had to be in a costume. Although you do see him in the background.
Well, it allowed him to get closer before she freaked out.
Yeah, I suppose. But unless Bond, was like post-sash pulling, oh, by the way, there's a large gentleman with metal teeth who might try to eat you. I don't really feel like, and you know what I've noticed? Whatever iteration of Bond we get, he isn't really good about giving people the 411 on what the dangers of things are with working with him. Because I think he knows nobody would work with him if they knew how fucked up his shit got.
Right.
But anyway, so here he comes. Mask gets knocked off. It's Jaws. He starts to attack her in the most... look, when I was little, I used to have this recurring nightmare that Frankenstein was chasing me, but that I was moving in slow motion and he was moving in regular motion. And for some reason, there were train tracks involved. But I'll let if there's a psychologist amongst our tens, you could give me a quick interpretation of what that all means. But this just reminded me that because everything he's doing is so slow and deliberate in this scene. He picks her up.
It feels like a really old horror movie. A really old horror movie.
Where they were slowing things down for the drama, like Christopher Lee as Dracula, slowly moving in for the bite on the neck, right? Because that's literally what he did, would slowly move in.
Right, and they do the exact same thing in The Spy Who Loved Me as well. When Jaws kills, I forget what that guy's name is right off the top of my head, but when Jaws kills this guy in this little booth, he does the same sort of horror thing where it's like, it's literally kind of like in Austin Powers when he's with the Zamboni, like, no! And it's like, it takes like 5 years to finally get killed. It's the same sort of vibe with this. And I don't know why that is with Jaws, like biting somebody. They always have to slow it down to like really magnify, like, look at how scary this is or something like that. I also thought this was such a dumb moment where she's getting attacked and then these partygoers rush through and he just tries to act like he's dancing with Manuela, like holding her up, like jostling her around, but she doesn't scream or do anything. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe someone would argue that he's squeezing her so tight that he's squeezing the air out of her or something like that. But it felt ridiculous that she didn't like scream for help or something.
Right. Yeah, the whole thing is just like, we need to get Jaws in this picture again because we brought him back for a reason.
Right. So
let's make him be menacing, which I don't know. I look at him, I feel like he's about as menacing as Andre the Giant, like, you are tall and terrifying, but I could outmove you like Wesley and the Princess Bride, buddy. I'm not really worried about it.
Right, exactly.
But, so, the partygoers leave, then Jaws tries to bite Manuela again. Well, again, aren't you strong enough to just crush her spine or something? I mean, speed things up a little bit here.
Well, I mean, he's got a signature move. He has to use it.
All right, that's
just what he
That's
does.
fair. That's fair. They did pay for the bionic teeth, so you might as well get the use out of them.
That's right.
But
he's still
just
paying
as
them
he's
off.
getting I mean, I know they do like teeth replacement, but that was a little ridiculous. That's something we'll have to put into the origin story, right? That'll be like, he had like
exactly.
Like his original character had the finest set of teeth in all of Russia.
Yes.
They got knocked out in some sort of accident, and he had to have, that's what started the whole thing. His mouth was ruined, and all of a sudden he's like, I must become a monster.
Well, I would love to see the moment where
know.
he's at the operating table when they're putting in the metal teeth, and it's literally like the first Michael Keaton Batman, where the doctor's like, you see what I have to work with here.
He's out there unwrapping his face.
Right, exactly.
And he goes dancing a jig in his Jaws style, very slowly.
That's right.
As he goes out the door.
Very slowly.
All right, so Jaws is trying to eat her again, and
well,
here comes Mr. Bond to save the day. And I'm going to tell you right now, he pops down, sees Jaws and smiles at him, and I swear to God, I saw Ewan McGregor right there. I sent you that picture where I took of it, where he smiles at him. 100%, hello there.
Hello
right?
there.
And I was just like, oh, is there some sort of genetic relationship I didn't know about? It was kind of uncanny. But, yeah. So Bond tussles with Jaws, and as usual, it's more or less a one-sided deal. But as things start to get a little more heated, yet another crowd of people who I am reasonably certain included at least 2 or 3 members of every other crowd that walked through in every other scene. Like they just had partygoers dressed and they just kept increasing the size.
Right.
But basically a flooding wave of partygoers comes along and drags Jaws away.
If anything, Jaws has a level of civility when it comes to mass groups of people. It's only one-on-one that he decides to murder you.
That's fair. So your protection is with Jaws, at least, just be in large groups. Bring your friends.
That's right.
Make it a party. Maybe invite him for some cheese and wine.
That's right.
Maybe that's all. Maybe he's just misunderstood. That's all he wants.
He just wants inclusion. He just wants to feel included.
Yeah, he wants to be part of the friend group too, man. Get him on Facebook. Put him on your Instagram page. Let him know what's happening.
That's right.
So he gets dragged off, and Bond and Manuela go off the other direction. As they're walking, Bond shows Manuela the freight sticker, and she tells him that Drax Air Freight takes off out of San Pietro Airport, which, makes sense because I think that's like the only airport to take out of. And she offers to take Bond there, but Bond, being quite the gentleman, I was like, I think you need to go get some rest. I'll take care of it later.
This is one of the moments where Bond actually seems kind of sensitive. Like, I kind of liked it, that he was a little bit more... I mean, granted, he was very presumptuous earlier, but at least now he's sort of like, maybe I should take care of this woman and let her just rest.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt like, well, your usefulness to me is over.
Yeah.
And I'm not planning on going till the sun comes out anyway, so...
Yeah, could be that.
I'll drive you back where you could sleep it off, and I'm just going to go do my own thing.
Right. And you've been written out of the rest of the movie anyway, so...
We can't afford to pay you for any longer, so we're sending you away.
That's right.
So we cut to the next day. So Bond's going to go out and scout the airstrip, which, of course, I'm like, why would he just go to the airstrip?
I know, that's such a weird thing, but it's to get us up on the gondola and to have the whole gondola thing.
Oh, I know. It's all because of the set piece, but
right.
I always like to see what could be the justification for this obvious set piece rather than doing something more logical.
Right.
So I'm always going to point that out. But let's just say he didn't bring his sneaky clothes because he had to wear the tux to Carnival. Maybe the luggage got lost somewhere.
Right.
I don't know.
So he wore the big collar out and the,
Well, that's the thing, though. That's the thing. he didn't, because he walked in, the collar was tucked.
That's right.
But then as he turned the corner, the collar popped out. Was there a shirt change? Did Roger go, no, I think I want to have it out now? And he popped out the collar? I don't know, but all I just know is he sprung wings. He drank a Red Bull and he sprung wings as he was turning the corner.
I was figuring he saw a lovely native of Rio and his collar popped.
Hey, you know what? You know what the weirdest thing was during the scene, Ben?
Yes.
For some reason, I had the most unusual desire for a 7-Up.
You know, I don't know what it was, but I too felt like I needed a 7-Up really bad throughout this entire area of the movie. I'm not sure what it was.
It was insane. I watched it twice and still don't know why. I just wanted the bubbling, crisp, refreshing taste of lemon lime flavoring in 7-Up. 7-Up, get yours now. Like every good James Bond movie, we can put product placement in our podcasts.
We could. I think we just did. Jason's looking at me and he's holding up a crisp, delicious Coca-Cola. You'd make an excellent model, Jason.
Wouldn't I, though? A hand model, at least.
That's right.
We all know I have a face for podcasting. So anyway, Bond makes his little journey, sans the crisp and clean, no caffeine taste of 7-Up, up to the observation deck, where instead of pulling out some sort of bitchin' microtized binocular setup, he goes right over to that old cootie-encrusted visitor viewpoint telescope.
Just relied on it being there. Well, they certainly will have one here.
Well, he's on a mountain. I think there's some logic to it, right?
I suppose in that era, yeah, those things were everywhere back then.
Well, yeah, nobody had phones with telephoto lenses on them, right?
Right.
However, having experienced these at the Great Grand Canyon National Monument and on top of the Empire State Building, what I can tell you is they're pretty much bullshit for optics. So it makes me wonder how good they would be for observing anything that far away.
I just find it interesting that Bond is able to literally refocus for a different focal point with those things. So it's like the city of Rio de Janeiro, they spent top dollar for those visitor telescopes.
Well, I think that just shows you their commitment to tourism, if nothing else.
Indeed.
So Bond is kind of checking out the airport. We see a plane taking off. A nice 4-prop job, kind of cool looking. And as it flies in, we can tell because the side of it says Drax Air Freight.
Oh, I know.
But it was clearly a model that they were showing that said Drax Air Freight.
Yeah.
It was so bad. It was the worst single visual effect in this movie.
And so on the nose.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it might as well have said Club Obi-Wan or Lauche Freight Lines on it. That's what it should have said. I mean, for a movie that had such great modeling work in it.
Yeah, somebody dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah, because it didn't even look like it was moving.
Maybe that was an afterthought.
Maybe, to kind of drive home what it was.
Yeah.
But could you have spent a little extra money and just painted a plane?
Seriously.
Say Drax Air Cargo on? I mean, I don't know. But it did take me out of the movie, but it did strike me as funny. It's like, well, we only have like $4,000 left in the budget. Somebody went and bought an AMT kit for whatever model of airplane that was, and then hand-painted Drax Airways on it.
Oh, boy.
And then that one shot, blow some smoke to make it look like it's moving. I don't know.
It's fine.
It's fine. It firmly establishes that it's a Drax Air cargo plane and it's moving. So, of course, in the cutesy way that we always have, this is not the first time someone has been looking through a visitor's point telescope where they show them turning around to see the attractive girl on the other end.
Right.
But it's the first time in a James Bond movie, I guess. But yep, he's done looking at the plane, and as he keeps on turning, there she is, Dr. Goodhead, doing the exact same thing. Because apparently CIA's on a shoestring on this one, too. I don't know. Or maybe she also knew that the quality optics on these things were significantly better.
Right. Better than either the CIA or MI6 had budget for.
Who knew?
Who knew?
So they do their little flirty banter back between one another. Bond's like, oh, perhaps we should team up now. Blah, 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, whatever. You weren't too bad in the sack. I'll think about it.
I do like that little moment where he says,
Where to?
That's what we're going to find out, now that we're working together.
I still don't know if I trust you.
I don't know if I trust you either. That's what makes it more exciting, doesn't it?
It's a little funny. He definitely amps the flirty on this one a little bit more.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Well, and this is kind of to the point where, kind of the turning point too, where he stops being a nuisance to her and he starts turning up the charm.
Right.
Because maybe, I don't know, maybe he thinks that works a little better at this point now that he's, bedded her or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it has something to do with the level of competence she's displaying.
Yeah, for sure.
That at that Bond, he might have been dismissing her a little bit up until he starts to see, damn, she's like on top of everything without anything that I've got going on.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to start treating her like an equal rather than just treating her like another woman to get through to get my mission completed.
To get my information.
Yeah, because I have a lot of information in this movie. Tons of it.
I will say, too, I made another observation about Bond being a nuisance. I realized that is a common thread in the earlier Bond movies where...
Really?
Yeah, for instance, there's a moment in Diamonds Are Forever where Bond gets this, he's infiltrating this laboratory and he gets one of these little, it's like a radiation counter, Geiger counter type thing to put on the lapel of his suit or whatever. And he steals a lab coat and he walks into this lab and acts like he's from this other station in this facility saying, well, I have to be here to check radiation levels or something like that. But he's a total nuisance about it. He's just very he just makes himself a pest throughout the whole scene. And I feel like he does that in this movie a lot, even though it's Roger. It's still, there's a through line there. I kind of wonder if some of the earlier writers of Bond, sort of incorporated that into some of these movies more than I realized before. I don't know if that's something that's prevalent in the books because honestly, I don't recall that sort of thing. I know that in a couple of continuation novels, he does not do that. It's just sort of an interesting, I just wonder if it was something that they just decided to cling on to in the movies where there's these moments where he just sort of makes himself a pest in order to get what he wants.
Yeah, I think, I mean, having never read a single James Bond novel in my life, I think it's just there on the writer's part to bring a little levity into it without being slapsticky.
That could be it too.
Just to lighten whatever moment he's doing. Because at the end of the day, when you get in those types of scenes, it's mostly exposition, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole reason he's there.
So you got to find a way to make it interesting.
Yeah, and entertaining at the same time. Or else you get a Quentin Tarantino movie where it's just all spoken. And if they're not really good at snappy dialogue, boy, that can be a slog. So, yeah. So as they're talking with one another, she kind of notes that those cargo planes have been taken off about every 2 hours. And James like, well, they must be emptying out everything then. He makes, as Ben pointed out, the sort of, maybe we should team up and be all flirty, yada, yada, yada. They start to head off, and then we see that Jaws is following not far behind. And can I just say, if we're going to pay for a Spielberg movie sound effect or music,
yes,
wouldn't it have just been better to get da-dum, 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 da-dum every time he comes on screen?
Oh, I'm sure they thought about it. It probably would have cost a fortune to get that, though.
Probably. But imagine if they did that, but they did it with James Bond-type trumpets. Because it basically sounds like that that comes from any James Bond movie when something immediately sudden happens.
Right.
Except for turning on a light. That requires some sort of a scary sound effect. However...
yes. Some sort of monkey screech or something.
But, so Bond and Dr. Goodhead get into a gondola to go back down to the city proper. But then we see Jaws grabbing the big mechanical wheel that spins the cable and bring it to a full stop. I want to point that out again. He brings it to a full stop.
Sure. And it just conks out the engine, like it does.
Well, that's... This whole scene is like we take Jaws to a whole different level. Bad enough that he fell out of an airplane from thousands of feet in the sky and was able to survive. I'll give you that on some sort of scientifically altered metal body principles.
Right. Now he's Superman.
But to be strung Yeah, now he's strong enough to stop a cable car and then has the jaw strength to to bite through a cable. Do you see how thick that cable was?
Yeah, well, I mean, the one that he actually bit into was made of licorice, so
of
fun
course. And that and probably tasted far worse than an actual cable did because it was made of black licorice.
That's
True
right.
Story. True story.
Especially if it was salted. That's just my opinion.
Oh, somebody salts licorice?
Oh, yeah, the Dutch do it. They're weird.
They salt their licorice and eat French fries with mayonnaise?
I'm just saying.
And we're sworn as a part of this NATO thing to protect them?
Hey, let's not go there right now. That's not a good take.
Okay, colonizers. Okay. So basically, we get this huge set piece where they're riding down the cable car. Jaws is trying to stop them from riding down the cable car. He bites a cable in half, which seems to have no reason, didn't affect anything.
No,
Like
all
the
it did
cable-
was just sort of made it swing a little bit. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't even know,
Well, maybe he bit the wrong cable?
Listen, I am not an engineer. I don't play one on TV, but I
All right.
feel like it should have done something more there.
I mean, if he bit the right cable,
I think they just wanted a gratuitous Jaws bites on something moment.
sort of like in Rio.
Yeah.
All right. You got a guy named Jaws. He's taking gratuitous bites out of things. I guess there's a logic there
Sure.
for whatever it's worth. But whatever happens, the gondola, for some reason, stops in the middle. I think more because of the bald guy at the control station than anything that Jaws did.
Yes, which would have made more sense if they would have introduced him earlier to be like, oh, look, Jaws has an accomplice to help him.
Yes, exactly.
That would have made a lot more sense than him biting the cable.
Agreed.
Again.
And with no fanfare. No but just sorry. Here it goes.
Right.
But for whatever reason, we get to the point where the Bond and Goodhead's car is not moving. Jaws gets on another car. He's surfing on the car, by the way. We're not going to ride in it. We're going to full Silver Surfer this motherfucker.
Right. Well, I think at that point, Bond and Holly were already on top of theirs. And so he got up there to match them.
Yeah. Because Bond nearly falls off, I think, when the cable snaps.
Oh, yeah, that's the part when she's like, Dr. Goodhead's like, James, hold on. And he's like, the thought had occurred to me.
Right? Yeah, I got to say, there's not a lot of good lines in this particular scene for Mr. Bond at all.
The only one is his name is Jaws. He kills people.
I don't know if I would call that one good either. I would call it a line.
I liked it just because it was I just like it because it's so flat out. Like sometimes the dumbest of lines work depending on where you place them.
That's true. I'm not saying it didn't work. I just didn't say, I was saying it wasn't necessarily a great line.
Right.
But
fair.
That's a personal thing, so I get it. So anyway, Jaws' car meets up with Bond's car. We're all kind of staring at each other. Mexican standoff.
That jump. Jason, the jump.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was getting there. Let's do it. Could it be possibly the worst choreographed jump ever? One.
Listen,
two.
I'm gonna give John Glenn some flack here too, because that was not a good cut on the motion. That did not
Bad
sell
edit all across the board.
All across the board, did not sell it at all. I mean, I don't know how you sell that anyway, but still.
I mean, I'm sure Richard Kiel wouldn't have been capable of making that jump, even simulated somewhere else, right?
Right.
Big guys like that, though, tend to have a ton of mobility.
This is true.
And from the editing standpoint, maybe that's the best he could do.
I guess.
But even his stunt double was not so great either, because every time he jumped, it looked like he lost about 6 inches and maybe about, 40 or 50 pounds. And so you got to do what you got to do. Big guys are hard to double, but still.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, bad jump aside, Jaws gets over to the other side to the cable car where Bond's at. They tussle a little bit, get the better of him. dump him down into the gondola, which I thought was funny because he goes head first.
Right.
And then they lock and I feel like this would not ever happen. There's a latch to lock this thing on the outside.
Right. Why would there ever be, what is it, a prison gondola?
Right.
Like, why would
when you're in, you're in. Hope you don't catch on fire.
Right? Death gondola.
Oh my God.
James Bond in the gondola of death.
Death, right? Actually, that might not be a bad movie. You only gondola twice. I don't know. But, he starts punching through it like what it is, which is probably tinfoil.
Sure.
At that point. As Bond is leaving the gondola initially, he has Holly Goodhead grab some chain that's randomly sitting in the gondola. Like, always happens. Every gondola I've ever had
like you do.
has had some chain just laying around.
There's always been a length of chain somewhere nearby.
Always. Every gondola ever. And so after they get Jaws in there, he starts busting out. Bond's like, hey, give me the chain. And they go over and they chain ride down the rest of the cable. I don't know what you call that. It's got a name, but Tom Cruise has done it like
a
400
zip line
times.
almost.
Zip line, there you go. With a chain. Now, hold on a second. So she's holding on to Raj for dear life. He's holding on to two pieces of cold chain that are running on a metal cable. And I don't know. There's not even any sparks.
It's smooth. It's a smooth ride.
It's like that was a lubricated chain or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they go sliding down.
Here's the other thing that makes no sense about this scene either, is if they're sliding down the chain and Jaws is in the gondola and he tells his guy at the top to speed up the gondola, if you're on that same cable with a chain, you're moving even faster as it's accelerating.
Yes.
There's no way that the gondola would actually catch up to them just because he turns up the speed. It's not, physics is not hard.
Unless you can increase the speed of the gondola significantly faster than the people riding on the chain are going. Like you could instantaneously accelerate to a much faster point than where you're going.
I suppose, but
that gondola with the mass and everything, and it's only got a maximum speed, and it's traveling on a cable, right?
I mean, I know we're being those guys, but isn't that kind of what we do here?
It is exactly what we do here. And the thing that's most disconcerting of all, I mean, you're seeing this obviously bad optical shot of Jaws in there getting all salivating about getting closer and closer and closer.
Oh, the cut, the cut in shot is just not.
And then
not great.
At the last second, James like, jump! And amazingly, they're not high enough to die.
Right?
And land in a green glade somewhere.
Right.
That doesn't appear to be even related to where they were at.
Yeah, I know. They just land in a nice, like, soft... As if the gondola was only, 5 feet above the ground at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And then, here comes Jaws, full tilt speed, crashes into the gondola building and demolishes it.
Like you do.
I have trouble believing that basically an open metal container, which is made out of aluminum and probably plexiglass,
right,
had enough mass to destroy a concrete building like that.
Well, And
the really weird thing was, again, once the gondola crashed into it and destroyed the building, I had this strong desire to drink a clear, crisp, refreshing 7-Up. But this time, 2 of them.
I suddenly wanted a big jug, even almost like a big thermos, if you will, of 7-Up. I was like, wouldn't it be great
so you could share it with your friends?
Wouldn't it be great if they had a green thermos? The same color as 7-Up.
Absolutely. And then you and your friends could drink it while dodging rubble.
That's right.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So we see that miraculously 007 and his CIA counterpart have landed on the grass, and even though barely escaping death, once again decide, hey, baby, let's get busy. Right?
Right.
And just as they're starting to get busy, along comes some ambulance people to help them. But they're not there to help him, Ben.
No, they aren't. But we forgot the best part of this scene, Jason. We forgot Jaws meeting the love of his life.
Yes, we hadn't quite forgotten. I was getting back to that, but okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes, We meet him on the love of his life, who has to be, I don't know, 5'2", maybe?
Maybe.
And very attractive, other than the hair, which I think was the point.
Yes.
But for some reason, I remember her having braces, and she didn't appear to have braces in this.
Everyone thinks that she had braces. That's the whole...
Really?
That is the talked about Mandela effect in this movie that has been talked up and down. People have tried to prove other people wrong. People have tried to say that originally she did have braces. She's never had braces. It's just a thing. It's just, I think it's the fact that like he smiles first, then she smiles. Maybe it's even the way that her teeth are configured. It's just, the fact that like some people, when they smile, this is going to be really weird to say this, but it's the only way I can figure it out. Some people, when they smile and you see their teeth, you can clearly see the little, not gaps have you, but just the little dark areas right in between each tooth. Yeah. And I kind of feel like she has those, and perhaps that sort of harkens to what braces look like in a weird sort of way. But yeah, that's a often debated, often argued point in Bond lore, but I can assure you that Dolly has never, ever had braces.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking here in the old interwebs. I do see what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Calvin Dyson has dissected this at length on YouTube.
I'm looking at MI6 community right now that says she did wear braces. Photo and video evidence reveals the truth.
Oh, jeez.
As recent as February of 2025.
I don't know.
See, I'm looking at this right now because my thought was there another movie in 1979 that we all might have seen that had a blonde girl in pigtails with braces, and we're conflating it?
I would argue that is probably something that could be researched and might prove to be fruitful.
Possibly. I'm gonna go a little more in depth on this. We can go more into it on the next Intel report, possibly.
That's
but I feel like this is something worth investigating. But anyway, yes. And here's my thing. Now, the building is destroyed.
Yes.
He climbs out of the rubble.
She helps, move that big wheel out of the way for him.
Absolutely. Clearly a 7-Up lover. What's the immediate connection here, do you think?
Well, I know what the connection is for him. He's staring right down at them.
Yes, but
I don't know what the connection is for her.
Exactly.
Maybe just she's a big fella and she sees kindness behind those eyes that she just needs to bring out of him. She thinks to herself, he can be fixed.
Okay, so I get that. Definitely. All right. I mean, I feel like there was an attempt to nerd her up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like two misfit toys that just found them. So the cosmos has brought them together.
Yes, but because it's a James Bond film, she can't just be an average-looking, attractive human being.
Right, no.
She has to be an above-average-looking, attractive human being.
Yes.
Made to look like she's a little weirdo.
Right. Well, I mean, that's every movie, though. That's literally every movie. Every movie that has like the quote unquote ugly duckling. The quote unquote ugly duckling is always hot. They just put glasses on them and put them in plain Jane outfits and don't give them any makeup at the beginning. And then as the movie goes on, in each scene, they progressively put more makeup on them and make them more attractive so that by the end, suddenly they're this beautiful butterfly, which they've always been. This is how movies work.
Yeah, I guess. I think the problem I have is that she looked like the beautiful butterfly from the get-go.
This is true. This is
true.
true.
With a bad wig.
And a very low-dipping bust line.
Yes. But, hey, you know what? Jaws deserves happiness.
That's right.
Dolly,
everyone does.
Dolly deserves happiness. We all deserve happiness. And thank goodness that they found each other, because the end of this movie might have been a little different.
Exactly.
So we cut to Mr. Bond and Miss Goodhead having been transported by the ambulance crew. I'm using air quotes here, folks. Into an ambulance where they are secured in the way that is most easy for 007 to get out of it.
That's right.
So good job, hench people. So they're racing down the highway in this ambulance that I swear almost overtipped twice. They were driving it so fast.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they're going on that really curvy road or whatever, and
at too high a speed for such a high center of gravity vehicle.
Yes.
'Cause I swear to God, I almost saw that rear left wheel lift up a couple times, man. But anyway, they're both strapped down to gurneys in this thing with, I don't know, central casting Rio de Janeiro thug number 2.
yeah. That was one of those moments where Drax was not on the phone looking for a new top person. He just went with whatever he could find, just basic Bob,
These guys probably worked for the air cargo company, and because now they were out of a job, he was like, well, I believe I will hire you to be thugs.
That's right.
I have little expectations of you, but thugs you will be.
That's right.
So, what did he have in his hand while he was sitting there, the thug?
It was just a pen.
Scalpel. It was a scalpel. Because that's
right.
what 007 uses to cut his feet. Okay.
That's
like
right.
he was being threatening with a scalpel. Because, they have tons of scalpels and stuff to do surgery on ambulances.
Yes, of course.
Anyway, right. Of course.
Of course.
So Bond looks over at Holly, and they're doing this whole face muggy thing for communication between the two of them.
Right.
And he's all like glancing over at the guy. Show him your tits. And she's like, my hands are tied, James. I can't show him my tits. Well, make him think you will if he unties you. Okay. So as he's getting her to flirty, he's figured out that for some reason there's a smaller, thinner bar under the bar he's tied to that he can actually retract into the other bar. And he starts working one out, slides his arm out, works one out, slides the other arm out.
Because all gurneys have that.
I can tell you for a fact now, every time I look at a gurney, I'm checking to see that. They don't even make gurneys like that anymore, so I may never get to know. But long story short, Bond gets free between him and Holly. They hi-ya their way into getting it out. But somehow, Bond manages to fall out of said ambulance.
On the gurney, with the thug.
With the thug, gets free, does a tuck and roll. And let's move back a little bit as we're driving in this ambulance, how we go through a literal product placement sign fest with another 7-Up sign.
Yes.
Where were the other ones?
Followed by a British Airways is the final, is the finale.
That's the final one, because the thug ends up going in the gurney into this girl's mouth. But there were 2 other bits of product placement. I think was Marlboro?
It might have been. I don't recall.
Anyway, it was the worst thing ever. It was literally just, these people paid to be in here, but since 7-Up paid more,
yes,
they got to be over here too.
Also, I just need to bring up one of my favorite parts of the scuffle inside the ambulance, which is the part where Holly holds on to the thug's head by the hair.
Yep.
And Bond punches the guy, and then his head falls to the ground, and she's holding a tuft of hair in her hand.
Yes. No.
It's a great moment.
Yes, it is.
Also, when Bond gets shoved right into her crotch.
And he apologizes.
He's like, oh, sorry.
Yes. Because he's a gentleman. 007 is a gentleman.
Occasionally.
Occasionally. When the need arises.
That's right.
So the funniest and most ridiculous part of this scene, which was already pretty funny and ridiculous, is that rather than choosing to continue upwards to save her, Bond just decides to leave. So much for the partnership.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a head-scratchy moment for me. He starts walking up the hill after being dumped out of this thing. And then the very next scene is this non sequitur of him now on a horse.
Dressed like Clint Eastwood.
Like with 2 other guys that you don't know how he met them or why or anything.
Nope.
And now they rock up to some sort of, what would you call that they, like a monastery or something?
Yeah, like a monastery, a mission, something like that.
Yeah, like a Spanish monastery, or in this case, I guess Portuguese would be more accurate for Brazil. But
yes.
Just what?
I know. And what it genuinely feels like is there was another scene that bridged those 2 scenes where, like, he got up to where she was at and realized there wasn't anything he could do and made his way back down to a town where he had to get a horse. Maybe his clothes were shredded or something had happened in the scene.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they were, the run time was already, running and they wanted to get to space faster to wow the audience. Because this whole movie is one big, like, how do we hurry all this stuff up so that we can get to the spacey space stuff that everybody wants to see?
Pretty much. Exactly. I don't know. It is the most unhinged scene I've ever, the most non-connected scene I've seen in a Bond movie ever. It just makes no sense.
That's outside of the pre-title sequences.
Yeah. Well, even the pre-title sequences are at least James Bond.
This is true. This
is a fucking Western.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It would have been like George Lucas cutting to like a samurai movie thing, circa Akira Asawa that guy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's 14th century Japanese warriors fighting each other with swords instead of stormtroopers shooting at Han Solo. It made no sense.
None whatsoever. It was just such a head-scratchy moment. I even forgot, upon watching this, since I hadn't seen Moonraker in a couple of years, or several years, I forgot that this scene even existed.
Me too.
And now I know why, because it doesn't make sense to be there in the first place.
Exactly. But there it is. James comes riding in with his flat top hat and his poncho on.
Right.
Walks in, and guess who's there? There's Moneypenny, being all like
nothing's, like she's been there for days.
Yeah.
You know.
Bond tells her what happened. She's like, "Oh, James, you're so full of shit." I mean, he's out in the other courtyard. Get out of here. I don't care about you anymore.
And then Jason, we get my favorite Bond line in the entire thing, quite honestly, which is
Balls Q.
No, 007, the Bolo. And then, of course, we get to see how Bolo balls work.
Yes.
I think the explosive part was a little overkill, but okay.
I mean, it was fun.
It was fun. And this is every Q scene in any Bond movie.
Right.
Where we see all of the gadgets being tested in the background. We get the person in the sombrero and the poncho that turns into a machine gun.
Of course.
We get the guy with the white laser that's lasering somebody's face and it's slowly melting.
Yeah, that's weird. And the fact that the guy is wearing, he had to have been dressed like that on purpose to slightly resemble a Star Wars-esque robe. Like a Star Wars-esque Jedi robe.
No. They were all dressed to be monks because they were in a monastery.
I know, but it still gives...
You're reading too much into it, man.
All right, fine.
The guys that were doing karate
if any of the tens want to agree with me, please let us know.
If any of the tens agree with him, you're all a bunch of kiss-ass liars, and I won't ban you. I won't ban you from the podcast.
There's no banning.
But I will censor you in my thoughts. You'll be censored. Ben, they had monks fighting karate in a room.
That's
all
true.
of them were dressed as monks.
I know.
Because they're in a monastery.
I know.
The bigger question you should be asking, Mr. Esslinger, is why he was firing the laser that Drax's people were using in the laser battle later.
Right? Also, if those things exist, then why isn't everybody shooting laser guns in this movie?
Exactly. But did they steal British military secrets so they could replicate the laser? Did they buy it from Drax? And Q's like, well, 007, we just don't have the budget we used to have. I don't know. But I would have thought that the astronauts on the good guys' side, the American astronauts, would have actually had similar lasers to what British intelligence did, not the bad guys.
Right. And I don't even remember what the American laser guns look like in the final shootout scene.
They looked like little black guns, like they stole them from Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't understand it. To be honest, if I had to look at the two models of lasers, the white gun looks more practical.
Yeah. Well, because it's set up ergonomically speaking.
Right. So, well, then, of course, yeah, well, it looks like it would be a laser gun has to be bigger and chunkier than Walther PPK just because of the power source, if nothing else.
Right.
But I don't know. We could have a much more in-depth laser discussion later on in the podcast because there's going to be a hell of a lot more of them.
Yes.
So we see all the Gidgy gadgets. Bond and Q meet up with M. There's apparently no news of Dr. Goodhead, which kind of felt like it was thrown in there. Because, again, I feel like Bond already knew what was happening, but we had to cut the scene.
Yeah.
Then
that definitely feels like a cut scene moment where they're like, oh, we need to fill the audience in on where Dr. Goodhead is or whether or not, or whether Bond knows anything.
Yeah, we're not going to explain whether or not Bond tried to save her or not. We're just going to move right along. Moving right along.
Yeah.
Footloose and fancy free. And then we get my favorite bit of Q just trying to deflate Bond. Apparently you were right, 007. And he starts talking about the nerve toxin that's in the glass vial and that it comes from a region of something like that. And of course, Bond's like, oh, no, it's only champagne if it comes from the region of Champagne.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's only sparkling poison.
Yet another episode of Bond Knows Everything.
Oh, my God. It's the worst. It'd be funny? It'd be funny if somebody did a supercut of James Bond explaining everything in every movie he's in.
We'd be here forever watching.
That would be its own movie. To be honest with you,
it would be, yeah. If you took it from all 25 movies, you bet.
It could be movie 26. Explain another day. So we've now firmly established that it comes from a very rare flower that was only recently rediscovered, and it's located somewhere.
Has no effect on animals.
Has no effect on animals or flora. It's based, and it sterilizes people who are exposed to it for a long period of time, right?
Yes.
So we're like, oh, so I guess Drax's thing might be to sterilize the population of the world, which means that for at least the remaining people, sex is going to be great. I don't feel like it's a punishment.
Well, of course, he weaponized it, so yeah.
I know, but we don't know that he's weaponized it at this point. Now we're just thinking, oh, people are going to get jiggy with it for about another 50 years, and that's it. Sweet! So they realize that Bond's going to have to go further into South America, out near, I'm assuming, the Amazon River.
The River Taparape.
Yep, I don't know where that is.
I don't know where that is either.
I can barely find South America on a map, so...
I can barely pronounce that.
Okay, fair enough.
See?
See, because it could have been like River...
Taparape?
River Tailpipe? I mean, it works for me.
Sure.
So Q's like, I think I could take care of you on that 007, but do bring it back, right? Everything is about bringing it back. Why does he bother at this point?
Why does he bother saying bring it back? Because he never brings it back.
Like maybe if he stopped telling 007 to do it, he'd be more conscientious about it.
Just build it into the budget, knowing it's just you're just throwing the money away.
I think that Q does build it into the budget, but he's trying to get a windfall one year.
Yeah,
that maybe 007 will bring something back, so he could use it more than once.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bond gets a boat, and so we jump to Bond being on his boat.
I'm on a boat.
He's on a boat. He's on a boat. But he's got no hose. There's no hose on this boat, so it's not going to be boats and hose.
No, just Bond.
And it is a fine boat.
I love this boat. I just think it's a cool ass boat.
It really is.
But I talked at length about that. Oh well, just for the tens that want to know, it is a Glastron CV23HT, which stands for hardtop, and only 300 were made, and only 3 were made with the metal flake gel coat. Like the one in the movie. That's my one little nerdy moment of this episode. Well, all right, maybe more than one nerdy moment, but I mean that's my super nerdy moment of the podcast.
Fair enough. I think we're going on nerdy moment 87 for me here, so I can't. Yeah. I lost track when I couldn't pronounce Akira Kurosawa's name properly. So I'm done, folks. Anyway, so Bond's on a boat. And he's out there driving around, looking around the river tailpipe, trying to find out whatever he needs to get. And then suddenly, kablooey! There's a big kablooey next to him. And then another kablooey. And we see that the bad guys are coming at him with boats that have kablooey dispensers. And that's never a good thing. We get to see a lot of water shooting up into columns. We get to see Bond deploying a minefield in an open river so that since nothing gets blown up but one boat, that means there's a bunch of mines still floating around that. How many people died on the Tailpipe River thanks to James Bond's interference?
A little careless, a little reckless there.
He's an asshole. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's a mine-deploying asshole. He is totally in violation of the Geneva Convention. What a jerk. What a jerk. But can I just say how wonderful the explosions in this scene are with the boats?
Oh, my goodness.
They had dummies. I love
seeing that dummy skyrocket.
Oh, my gosh. It was so glorious to watch those bad guy boats blow up.
They spared no expense for those, man.
No. They went full John Hammond on this scene. So he kills one boat with the mine. He sends out a mini torpedo, destroys another boat. But then 2 more show up, and of course, Jaws is on one of them. And let's go back to our back projection discussion here. While it looked pretty good on the gondola for what it was worth, not so great here. Not so great here.
Not so great here.
No. But we get a lot of chasey, shooty. No tip-parent bullet holes in 007's boat, which is good, although kind of pointless considering that he finds a waterfall randomly ahead of him. Don't people chart things? Don't people read charts? Isn't James Bond a member of the Navy, the Royal Navy? Doesn't he know how to navigate a boat?
Right? Wouldn't he know that that's coming up?
Right?
I mean,
but
to be fair,
like
he's a...
feels like he did because there's a freaking paraglider sailing dealie that's attached to the boat.
Well, and that was my thought. I'm like, perhaps he did prepare for it. He was like, well, you know what? Maybe just in case I'm chased, I can ditch the boat and go straight to the hang glider thing and just ditch the boat.
So maybe it was a conscious choice to go where the waterfall was, is what you're saying?
Yes.
To get away from the bad guys? Okay.
Yes.
I will allow that. That makes perfect sense for someone that should have the skill set of 007. What I would have loved to see in this scene is just before he left, he hit a button that says, return home.
That would have been great.
How great would that have been? And as he's flying away, the boat makes a U-turn.
That would have been cool.
Just as Jaws goes off the cliff. That would have been amazing.
You could even have a payoff scene where it returns to the MI6 base in Brazil.
With Q.
With Q, and he's like, oh my God.
He actually brought it back. Future James Bond writers,
amazing.
Take heed. Take heed. But as one would expect with such a slapsticky bad guy, his boat doesn't come with any kind of a hang glider.
Nope. He just, oh, look, what do I do? I guess I'm going over.
Yeah, and at least we didn't get to see...
No attempt even.
No, but well, he couldn't because he tried to steer the boat and ripped the steering wheel off.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that part.
But thank God we were spared a Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom yellow floating raft with people in it falling over a waterfall composite scene. That would have been awful.
Yes. No one needs that.
Nobody needs that at all. So boat goes over. Guess what? Jaws doesn't die. He's coming back. And very quickly, I might add.
Yes.
So 007 lands in what is a weirdly chaotic hang glider landing.
Yeah, he seems fine. He's fine. And then he goes to land and just blam, he's in the tree. Just suddenly just tailspin, like blam.
It's always that re-entry, man.
Like, what happened there?
You always got to watch things on re-entry.
That's right.
So Bond is now walking towards the falls that he just went over and sees some attractive women just kind of walking around.
Yes.
This sightseeing, Ben, is very weird to me.
Yeah, the girl from the...
it's almost...
Hey, it's the girl from Vanini Glass!
It is. I know you! She gets her little star scene there in a slinky white dress and very alluringly, follow me, 007 kind of thing.
Yes.
But this one almost feels as non-sequitur as Cowboy Bond.
A little bit, yeah. He just sort of happens upon her.
Well, yeah, exactly. Were they waiting for him?
Were they tracking him?
Well, all these girls just sort of hanging around. If James Bond shows up, Mr. Drax has said that he wants us to bring him in. I don't know. It's so rando. Because it's like, sort of like, I'm here for you, Mr. Bond. And then she just moves at a very leisurely pace, knowing that 007 is like, well, I'll go ahead and see what's happening there. So he does follow her in, because there's a connection there, obviously.
Right.
They go in through kind of a cavey thing, and they end up in a rocky, Aztec-y type of lair.
Yes.
With a bridge that no one walks over. We all walk around the bridge, but we're not going to walk over the bridge. So Bond is going through, he's standing around and then gets deposited sideways into this little lagoony area that the bridge goes over.
I thought that was so silly. You know, he's like thinking, I'm going to be smart, not going to take the Bridge of Doom. I've seen that happen before. So he goes, and then that's the most cartoony rock. It's just so obviously, when it just sort of crank, goes sideways and sends him into the drink. It's just sort of like, okay.
And like he couldn't swim to safety or anything before this python comes and attacks him. And it's like the worst python ever.
Out in the pond, and
that thing was so fake that he was fighting.
So fake.
It was like, it reminded me again of when I was a little kid, used to go to toy stores and they'd have this gigantic python stuffed animal that looked very cutesy wootsy. It was usually like pink or red or blue or something like that.
Right.
And you could wrap it around you and be all cozy. And I'm like, it looked like 2 steps better than one of those stuffed animal snakes.
Mattel presents My First Python.
Python, exactly. He'll squeeze you just enough to feel cozy. So anyway, 007's fighting this snake, quote unquote, and pulls out the little pen that he stole from Dr. Goodhead with the little poison tip on it and injects it straight into the snake's jaw. Snake dies instantly. Bam!
Of course.
So 007 gets pulled out of the water by Jaws, and here's where we get the clingy punch.
Yes.
Clang! And then Mr. Drax walks out and says the very best line in this entire movie, in my humble opinion.
Absolutely.
Mr. Bond, you defy all my attempts to plan an amusing death for you. You're not a sportsman, Mr. Bond. I mean,
it's so good.
Was there ever, has there ever been a Bond villain that was so aware of the fact that they're a Bond villain? I mean, I would argue Zorn might have been.
Yeah.
Zorn might have been kind of aware of what he was, but
you know what it is with Zorn? That's just Christopher Walken knowing how to deliver lines.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
No doubt. It's 100% the actor.
Exactly. There are well-written lines like this one, and then there are actors who can deliver anything and make it sound amazing.
Absolutely. But I mean, and, you know, it's funny. In 1979, the industrialist billionaire as celebrity was not a thing, right?
Right.
It wasn't like your Bezos and your Musks and everybody else out here. But it's so weird how so many of Drax's cues in this movie have become what these billionaire celebrity people are like.
You know, I feel like
they know they're the villain in their own story. They're not the hero.
Yeah.
They know they're the hero in their own story, but they know they're the villain in everybody else's.
Yeah.
And that's what Drax feels like. He feels like he's the hero, but he knows he's the villain to everybody else because the scale of what he's doing is so awful that he would have to be. So he just leans into it.
Right.
I wish that was the whole motivation for this character. I know it's not. I know it's literally the actor's choices to get where he's at. But in my own head canon, he was like, well, I already know I'm the worst person in the world. So why not?
In his mind, he's this
bit?
Idealist. Yeah.
Yes. They'll all see eventually, and they'll think these jokes are even funnier then. But hands up. And this now officially goes into my favorite villain line ever. It tops, Mr. Bond, which was my previous one. But yeah, so.
We might have to revisit the best villain lines of all the Bond movies in a future Intel.
Yeah.
And I would encourage our 10s to send some in if you have some favorites, because that would be fun to do. To accumulate those.
Absolutely. And all of you will likely be more successful at it than me. I would have to make Ben actually make a list of all of them, except for the 2 I mentioned, and maybe 2 or 3 more. If we're going for 10, I could probably punt, but they're only going to be what I remember, not necessarily because they're any good. So maybe help me out a little bit. So we at this point in time, we get Bond led off, and that's going to walk us right into Act 3. Hey, guess what, Ben?
Hey, what, Jason?
Ben, we're nearly done.
We're nearly done.
Ben, we're nearly done.
We're into Act 3. We're into Act 3, and as Jason mentioned, Bond is now escorted into the main control room, Drax's main control room that's built inside this, I don't know, some sort of ancient pyramid type structure.
It is some of the most gorgeous set design I've ever seen that makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Exactly. It's gorgeous, but it's so useless. If you're like an actual person who does space things, does not make any sense to have it set up this way. It just looks really cool.
It does. It looks like somebody made a sports bar and decided to make it avant-garde.
Right? I can watch when I'm not launching my Moonraker shuttles, I can watch every game on the NBA.
Exactly.
Maybe that's how he makes money on the side. He turns it into a sports book and just...
He does. Actually, that's brilliant, Ben, because that's almost what every sports book in Las Vegas looked like when I was a kid.
Exactly. I can tell you they still look that way. Yeah.
But I mean, back when they were all rear projection TVs, or they were front projection big screen TVs, they all sort of had that scaled, this is bigger than this kind of thing going on with no rhyme or reason to them. Yeah, I love it.
But I digress. So Bond is led into this control room, and we see up above everyone in this little, contained in this plexiglass orb is the orchid, the dangerous orchid that they then begin to discuss. And Bond mentions that it used to just cause sterility, and then Drax is like, yes, well, as you've noticed, Mr. Bond, I have weaponized it now, and I intend to kill everyone. So as we're in this room, we see Moonraker 1 through 4 lift off on the different screens around them. And this is when Drax reveals how dumb the starting point of this movie is from a story perspective, because there's no payoff, really, if you think about it, for Drax hijacking his own ship. There's really not a lot of reason behind it other than, well, I needed it because one of my other ones failed.
Yes.
Like that's his whole reasoning for hijacking the Moonraker thing. He could have just asked for it back. Like he literally, it's his. He could have just said, well, I'm sorry, I need it back.
I mean, all he had to do is issue a recall and say the ship wasn't safe and it needs to come back and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, but you know.
Do you know what the flaw was in the one that wouldn't work?
What's that? It
didn't have any fuel lines in it, so it couldn't fly under its own power, like a real space shuttle.
Right? So, yeah, he said one of his other ships had a fault during assembly, and that's why he hijacked it. So, yeah, which is just silly. That was the one moment where I was like, huh. So they just made up some bullshit to start this whole thing. Just so they could make a Bond movie about Bond going...
To be honest, Mr. Bond, I simply hijacked it because I wished to meet you. All I wanted was your autograph.
That's right.
You became tiresome.
Exactly. So... at this point, Drax sort of gets tired of trading barbs with Bond verbally. And he says to Jaws, he's like, Mr. Bond must be cold from falling into the water. Why don't you put him someplace where he'll be warm? And so Jaws escorts him out of the control room and taken to, it's basically under the launch platform for Moonraker 5, where Dr. Goodhead already is. And so they're just sort of trapped down there, I guess.
Well, and isn't it? It's hilarious to me that even though he can't build a mission control that makes any fucking sense, he is worried about space planning. So he's like, well, it's just an empty pit until the fire comes in. Why don't we turn it into a conference room?
Right?
That way... we can utilize the space more effectively, and if I need to dispatch large groups of people, I'll simply call a meeting.
Yeah, I totally forgot that it doubles as a meeting room. It's just, it's like, what? Okay, sure. He's just really concerned about using the space effectively, I guess.
Yes, so. Space planning is very important, especially in space.
Exactly. So they're locked in this under the launch platform for Moonraker 5, which Drax then boards. And at this point, they're down there and, classic Bond, left to die. Nobody's going to watch after him to make sure he dies. So then he breaks out of his fancy watch a little explosive with a retracting fuse thing.
Mm-hmm. Which, strangely enough, was not called out earlier in the movie.
Yeah. Interesting that's like a payoff that has no setup.
Yeah. You just expect him to have some useful gadget to get him out of things.
Right.
It's James Bond. But there's always that foreshadowing of it with Q.
Exactly. I mean, literally every other gadget in this movie is set up and then paid off, except for this one. So go figure.
Also,
I don't know.
I would like to point out the inherent flaw of having an air ventilation shaft in your flame catchback room. It seems like a bad idea.
It does. It really does. I mean, unless you're trying to use the exhaust from the fire coming out of the shuttle to heat the rest of the entire building, maybe they're saving money on heat.
I mean, he's definitely into space planning, so maybe he's into ergonomic temperature controlled design. Sure. Although we do see as Bond and Goodhead are escaping, the flame doesn't go very far.
No.
It doesn't follow them out anywhere like it would a mere 10 years later in other movies like Die Hard. So not a very effective energy return using that either. So maybe it was a miss on his engineering team.
Yeah, who knows? It's probably okay, sure. So anyway, so he uses his fancy watch and he blows up the air vent and they crawl out, and it felt way too easy, but it was one of those things where maybe the writers just sort of painted themselves into a corner by putting Bond in a corner, not knowing what to do with him and how to get him out. So they got themselves out with a gadget that there was no setup for.
That's right.
So
that's right. Nobody puts Jamie in a corner.
That's right. So then we see all the we see all the pretty people getting on the carts that are taking them to board Moonraker 6, and that's when we see Bond and Holly. They sneakily get a ride on this cargo trailer to get there, but then they realize they're going the wrong way, so they jump off of that. And then conveniently, Jason, we hear over the PA advising the Moonraker 6 pilots to come to the launch area, and they drive right past Bond and Holly just in time so they can jump out and carjack those guys.
I would like to point out that for the duration of the picture from this point on, I could not watch it without immediately thinking of Austin Powers and The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yeah.
Because that movie is such a blatant ripoff of the remainder of this movie.
Absolutely.
That I have to credit, it made me immediately think that the production designer for the Austin Powers movie was really good at his fucking job.
Yeah. Yeah. So the pilots come right into the pathway of Bond and Holly. Bond jumps out in front of the little cart and knocks out the one guy. And then Holly swings a gas can like nobody's ever swung a gas can before.
Nobody's, oh my God. What pow!
Impressive.
That needed to have a Batman animated sound effect with that hit.
Seriously. So he's out, obviously, and they get in the shuttle and they quickly, this is a very silly and convenient moment too. The fact that right after that, they just drive right up and they don't even show them getting into the cockpit. They're there. Literally the next cut is they are already strapped in and ready to go. There was no pre-checkpoint, no you just walk right in. There's nobody else there to make sure that the astronauts are locked in right. Nobody to verify that the astronauts are in fact the astronauts.
Can I point out to you?
Walk right in.
Can I point out to you that Drax literally boarded it like he was getting into a limo. No spacesuit.
Yes.
No nothing. Just in his evil villain coat.
Everybody else is wearing something except Drax.
So clearly, this was either so standard for them that it was like getting into a car, or Drax's safety program was not great. And I mean, looking at that bridge, I can see where maybe some safety people were not really involved in the building of anything there.
Indeed. And then we get a little quick bit of exposition from Dr. Goodhead telling us that they're on a prearranged flight program, so they don't have to worry about that. So then they launch. Okay, so then the shuttle launches and they go into space. And from this moment forward, I feel like everyone has been told by Lewis Gilbert to move slower. Because moving slow
because they're in microgravity.
That's right. Moving slower means you're in space.
Okay, so I have to get this out of the way now.
Okay.
So that you can finish on an uninterrupted run.
Sure.
It's a little primer about how shit works in space.
Okay.
First of all, space shuttles. The two solid rocket boosters would never get that high up before they were detached because they would not then be reusable.
True.
That's one. Number two, when the shuttle is flying in space, there would not be smoke coming out of the back.
Yep.
Flames, maybe. That's what the tank is for. But no smoke.
Yes.
And boy, that thing was smoking even while it was still attached to the tank. And I have to say, honestly, that I appreciated the lack of like rockety sound effects at the beginning.
Okay, yeah.
Shuttle just sort of went whoosh when it went past, even though obviously in the vacuum of space there is no noise. But their special effect idea for zero gravity was awful. Just awful. All across the board, on the space station, in the shuttles. I got an idea. If we spin the space station, that will create gravity somehow. The
centrifugal.
That will. Yep. Centrifugal force will generate a level of gravity. However, when the gravity goes away, people are falling. What can't you do in no gravity? You can't fall. You continue on the vector that you were on until you stop.
You would just keep moving in the direction you were already going.
Exactly. and then the fact that people could walk in microgravity? Come on. I mean, I get.
Yeah.
I get. It's 1979. We couldn't afford wire rigs to make things look. I get all of that. But man, it hurts my soul that it could be portrayed so much better. Because I have a conscious memory of watching this movie in the theater during this going, how do they have gravity when the gravity turned off? Because even my 9-year-old brain was like, that's not how that shit works.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, I needed to get it out of the way or I would literally be pointing out at every point. I have made my point.
Okay.
I've made myself look smarter than I actually am, and I feel much better. So please, continue with the space station action.
All right, then. So they're flying along and they suddenly start seeing light hit this thing. And then they suddenly realize that what they're flying towards is a space station. And they're like, how does nobody know about this? And then they realize, well, there must be some sort of radar jamming system that is keeping everyone from knowing that this thing is even out there, which in and of itself seems preposterous, but
I think it's that overclocked radar dish at the bottom that's moving entirely too fast to be a convincing miniature.
Yes, that one. So they're flying towards there, and at this point Bond is like, well, let's see what our cargo is, and he hits the little video cam to see who's in the back of the old family truckster that they're
right?
driving, and we realize it's all the pretty people, and Bond suddenly realizes that Drax was intending to basically make a Noah's Ark, because we've got 2x2s going all the way back. They're pairing them up before they even get there.
Right.
So then we see the first Moonraker shuttle arrive and dock, and this guy enters the station, and and all the things that Jason previously mentioned that don't fly. But all that aside, he basically gets the life systems going and gets the space station rotating to create some illusion of gravity, which I have a hard time believing that thing is spinning fast enough to generate a level of realistic gravity. But anyway, I digress. We've talked about that enough. So the gravity's on now. This is the rules that they have just made up. So gravity's now going, and then we see the people begin to board the space station, and we see that Jaws has booked Dolly a ticket onto the station as well. But much like Drax, they apparently couldn't find a spacesuit large enough to fit Jaws. So he just came on in his plain old suspenders and suit that he wears everywhere. Apparently it works just fine in space. So, and as everybody's making their way onto the space station, we see the pods containing the nerve gas vials. They're being transported somewhere on the station in conveniently transparent tubes. So we know.
Like you do.
It's a nice bit of exposition without actually telling you anything, without actually having to spell it out. You can just see it.
Well, you know, it's funny. For some reason, that part That part reminded me of an old Disneyland ride. The old microscope ride that used to be in Tomorrowland, where you would watch the chairs that you ride in getting smaller and smaller as they go into the tube. It just reminded me of that. Just thought I'd throw that one in there. I will tell you, there's a very Tomorrowland vibe about the whole space station.
Yeah, absolutely. So then Drax basically holds an all-team meeting where he, in the main area of the space station, where he finally reveals his master plan.
Yeah.
That he's basically intending to create a master race that will procreate and live in the space station until the Earth is inhabitable again after sending down this poison gas over the entire Earth and killing all the humans but leaving all the animals to be animals and such.
Yeah.
So
I would like to point out that there really aren't enough people on that space station to be able to repopulate the planet Earth without them all becoming genetically mutated freaks.
Yeah.
There's not enough diversity there to sustain repopulating the planet. So, fatal flaw.
Fatal flaw
on Drax's part, but okay.
Like any good billionaire, he just hired the smart people. He didn't think about the X factors involved in the other part of the plan. He just hired smart people to make shuttles.
Well,
he didn't think about the 2x2 thing not working out exactly the way he planned it.
I feel like he probably hired some high-end geneticists somewhere down the road.
Right.
And then after the guy was like 100% behind the plan, but then Drax was like, but I don't believe you'll be going with us. And so he's like, then I don't believe I'll be telling you how your plan's going to go to fucking hell, you ass.
Exactly. So at this point, Bond then sort of says to Holly that he wonders if there's a way to shut down the radar jamming system, because the moment that that's gone, then all the scanners down on Earth are going to suddenly pick up this giant space station. NASA's going to see it. Russia's going to see it. They're all going to see it. So Holly's like, well, we haven't gone that way. Let's go that way. She's literally smarter than Bond in this moment. So they then head down another way, and they run into it because, it's not a huge space station.
No.
I will say. It doesn't appear to be a gigantic space station. So they get down there, and what's fun about this, and I was able to buy into it, because you figure if there's only a select amount of people that are allowed on these shuttles, what's the chance that there's going to be people there that have ill intent, right?
Sure.
So they just walk right down into the radar jamming room, just casually, like they belong there, and then they take the two guys out,
Which Holly does most of the work.
Way more of the work. Bond gets one punch in, and she does all the other, she does the work. So, but again, more capable, really, than Bond in this movie, especially in this part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hold on, I just had a thought. What if Bond is like Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Okay.
And had he not been involved in this, Holly would have taken care of everything without him there.
You know what? I think you're right. I that's a valid theory.
She would have gotten on the space station just by being an employee that Drax needed.
Yes.
And she could have facilitated every bit of this happening without James at all.
Exactly. She had already embedded herself. Drax had already entrusted her to do all the right things. She would have taken care of the whole thing. Bond didn't even need to be there, other than to shag her, maybe.
Yeah, the spy who shagged me.
And who's to say that he even needed to be there to do that?
I mean, she probably wasn't lacking.
There were plenty of good-looking fellas on that station.
Sorry to interrupt. I just had an epiphany. I had to get it out.
No, very good. It's a very good epiphany. So they knock out the radar system, and immediately it shows up. And hey, look, in NASA, apparently Michael G. Wilson works for NASA now.
Outstanding.
And he's there to tell everyone that there's an object in space that's over 200 meters in diameter that they had never seen before.
Gasp.
So meanwhile, there's already this phone conversation happening between U.S. military leaders and good old General Gogol out in Russia, both of them denying that they put the space station up there. And then we get this ridiculous little moment with General Gogol where
Playa.
Where the military leader's like, sorry to wake you, General. I didn't mean to interrupt your sleep. And General Gogol starts, hey, I'm already up. he's like,
I wasn't sleeping. I can't sleep.
How can I sleep? Nothing but problems. And then he sits down next to a young girl that is probably old enough to be maybe his daughter.
Maybe.
And she hands him, maybe. And she hands him a shot of vodka. And yeah, that's all we get of General Gogol. So
it was a nice little cameo, though.
Yeah, it was a fun little cameo. So then we cut to the next day and we see that a U.S. space shuttle is being prepped to send Marine astronauts out to intercept, because in this alternate universe, Jason, in 1979, there is already a military space shuttle ready to go.
Yeah, that could launch at any moment.
Complete with lasers on board.
Laser.
There's no waiting for weather. There's no waiting for anything. We can just go whenever
we're ready
we want.
to go. I think this may be the very first use of the idea of a space marine.
Yes. Way before certain other people might have brought it up.
Definitely before Aliens. Definitely before Warhammer, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, I feel like this cemented in people's brains that if we were going to have a military force out in space, they were going to be Marines, because Marines go first.
That's right.
Even if they have to go on Air Force aircraft.
That's right. So in the meantime, however, we then see Drax is ordering the launch of the first little globe filled with nerve gas to send towards Earth's atmosphere. And apparently, Jason, these things are flying really slowly. That's all I'm going to say about that. Really, just slowly inching their way towards Earth. So
it's basically they're on gravity drive at that point, right? They got shot out, whatever, and gravity's slowly sucking them in. I'm not really sure how they're maintaining a trajectory without any propulsion, but I promised I would stop talking about that stuff, so I'm just going to let that slide.
Exactly. Okay. So as Bond and Holly see this first globe deployed, they're then found by Jaws and Drax's men and taken to Drax. And then they're pulled into the main area of the space station once again, and Drax monologues his full intentions to kill the human race as we know it, so we can start over with some sort of master race once it's safe to return. In the meantime, we start to see the shuttle from the U.S. heading out to intercept the space station, at which point Drax orders to activate the laser.
Uh-huh.
So now we get the first large laser that Drax has at his disposal. So in the meantime, he's also showing Bond how he intends to sort of send him and Holly out into space. And then Bond gets a little light bulb goes on up above Bond's head, and he says, so,
yep.
Leaving you to your stud farm in space, and then continues to say, and anyone not measuring up would be expelled, right? And Drax is like, well, of course. And then, of course, we cut to Jaws thinking, wait a minute. That means if that's true, then I'm in trouble.
Mm-hmm. And so is my dolly.
And nobody puts a my golly on my dolly. So
yeah, that.
So that's when Jaws basically disobeys and doesn't force Bond to the airlock, and instead he ends up, and this is an important point too that we brought up in part 1, is that this is the first time that Jaws disobeys Drax, and this is the only time in the entire movie that Drax raises his voice like a maniacal supervillain.
Yeah,
which it's a good decision. It's a good acting decision, I think.
I agree.
So they try and fight, and but of course, they've all got these little shock sticks, these little zappy sticks to like control everybody. So then just as they're about to shoot the laser, Bond sort of lunges over to the control panel, who's manning the thrust controls that spin the station, and he hits the emergency stop button or something. He notices that there's like some sort of stop button to stop it all, which brings the space station to a screeching halt. And as Jason pointed out earlier, suddenly they fall instead of just moving in the same direction that they had been going. Although in other areas it's just all, the laws of physics are not
Chaos!
Chaos, basically. So chaos, the gravity goes out, and then from here we then see Drax's army of spacemen go out they're out in space in the suits with the little jetpacks that you always see astronauts have that sort of propel them here and there with their laser guns, and they start shooting at the oncoming U.S. shuttle. Then the U.S. shuttle, they deploy their space marines, and then we get the most elaborate space shootout. Like, so many lasers, Jason, so many lasers.
So
I think
so many lasers with so many weird sound effects. It was like twop,
yes.
twop, tweep, 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 twop, 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 tweep, tweep, tweep,
I
tweep,
feel
tweep.
like I feel like no idea was kept on the cutting room floor. Every idea was entertained during this moment. Every weird way to die.
It was like, we want it to look like Star Wars, but we don't want it to look like Star Wars. We want it to sound like Star Wars, but we're not going to pay Ben Burtt to make actual sound effects.
Right.
So let's do it on the cheap.
Yes. So while this is all going on, the actual space shuttle docks at the space station, and then more Marines start making their way onto the space station, and this big fight breaks out within the space station. And then in the meantime, Bond and Holly, with the help of Jaws, they keep fighting bad guys. And then Bond sees Drax trying to flee, and he chases after him. They get in this corridor, and Drax thinks that he can kill Bond before his last breath. And this is also, too, when we get maybe my favorite line. Well, I think your favorite line is my favorite line, but one of my favorite lines of Drax's in this movie, where he says,
At least I shall have the pleasure of putting you out of my misery. Desolated Mr. Bond. Heartbroken, Mr. Drax. Allow me. Take a giant step for mankind.
Bye-bye, Drax. So
Bye-bye.
bye. But that's not the end. Oh no, because this movie does not want to end. This is the part of the this is the part of the movie where
this movie is like Return of the King, man. It's the Lord of the Rings James Bond movie. There's like 8
Seriously,
endings.
there really is. There's like 8 endings. We're only on part 2 of 3 endings that I would call 3, maybe 4 endings really.
Yeah.
But so we're on part 2. So Drax is dead, but there's still this laser fight going on inside the space station. But at this point now, the space station is falling to pieces. Bond makes his way out to the main area, and he realizes that all the bad guys are dead, but this thing is falling to pieces. So he tells the Marine guys, because of course they're all going to listen to him for some reason. He says, your mission is complete. You can leave now, whatever. So at this point, Bond and Holly figure out that they should get on Moonraker 5, since it has the laser on board that they can use to destroy the globes on their way back.
Right.
So they get in and they try to undock, but they realize that they're kind of stuck. Meanwhile, we get this interesting cut to Jaws and Dolly, who are just kind of sitting among the dead bodies everywhere with a bottle of champagne and some glasses. And we get, I believe, the only spoken line that Jaws has in any Bond movie, which is, well, here's to us. And then they drink that. But then we also see that, like, Jaws and Dolly see that Bond and Holly are trying to undock, and Bond asks him over the communications line, like, hey, can you help out or whatever? And it's funny because Dolly sort of whispers something in his ear and convinces him to do it, convinces Jaws to help him out.
Right.
So he goes over there and he does something, and it breaks free the shuttle. And in the process of doing that, the entire main hub of the space station, magically still retaining air and heat, goes hurtling towards Earth with Dolly and Jaws aboard. And of course, they somehow survive.
Right.
So in the meantime, we head to ending part 3. So now Bond and Holly are flying back towards Earth. They're trying to catch up with the 3 globes so they can destroy them out in space so that it doesn't kill all of the entire population of Earth. So they're able to destroy the first 2 with some sort of auto-targeting system. And as they get to the 3rd one, they start skimming along the Earth's atmosphere. And it becomes much harder to get to the 3rd. And that's when Bond has his Luke Skywalker moment. He's like,
"Yep,
you've turned off your targeting system. I'm okay."
Yep. I literally, when I watched it the first time, I literally was like, "Use the Force, James. Let go."
Exactly. Let go of your feelings. So at this point, he's just like, hold on for a couple more seconds, and then...
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
Stay on target.
At the last possible moment, Bond uses the Force and destroys the last globe before it enters the atmosphere. So that brings us to the final ending of the movie, Jason.
Yes, it does.
That's when we see Mission Control, and they have verified that a large chunk of the space station is hurtling into the Earth's atmosphere, carrying a, quote, very large man and small blonde woman, because somehow they can see inside the space station still.
Yeah, they sure can.
Of course. That's how science works, right?
It makes a perfect orbital re-entry.
Right.
No heat shield.
Right.
No nothing.
Why would you need that?
I mean, the odds of it hitting water are pretty good on our planet.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I
don't know. I mean, we know that Drax's engineers had some weird priorities. So maybe their priority was making the station re-entryable. I don't know.
So at this point, NASA, or I think it's NASA that we see the mission control, but we've got world leaders. That's what it is, because they do this whole like, we've got a joint USA Britain thing, put everyone in on the call, and they go to the camera, which of course is crystal clear, aboard the shuttle, and there's Bond and Holly, and
007. My God, what's Bond doing?
I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.
Yeah. And then Bond's like, the camera's on. Click. And then Holly's all like, take me around the world again, James.
Oh, I know. It's so corny. But it's Roger Moore. That's a Roger Moore James Bond movie. So,
now, what they did not do was actively demonstrate what happens when you try and have sex in space. But that's okay.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't have to get that far into it.
Every action needs to have an equal and opposite reaction, and there's a lot of reactioning going on.
This is
Just
true.
saying.
This is true. Indeed. And cue Shirley Bassey's disco version of Moonraker, and that is the end of Moonraker.
Yay!
We made it.
We did it!
We achieved re-entry.
Yes!
But yeah, like we have been mentioning throughout these 2 episodes, much better than I remembered it. Just across the board. Just even though it's an extremely silly Bond movie, it's kind of silly in all the best ways.
Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, even the Bondola and the double take pigeon, the fact that it's placed where it's placed actually helps the movie in a lot of ways.
Yeah, agreed.
The other non sequitur with the Pancho Villa and everything else, that's a little weird. That's a weird take, but what are you going to do?
Maybe the director always wanted to do a Western and just like, here's my opportunity. I got a couple $1,000s left in the budget.
Yeah.
Let's do some rando shit here, see what happens.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I said earlier, I think this is one of the best paced, if not the best paced of the Roger Moore films.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why it's so good, is it doesn't get bogged down on itself at any point.
Yeah.
It doesn't lean too much into the humor. It doesn't lean too much into trying to be serious. It's just got the right balance of everything in the right place at the right time. And so, sure, there's a lot of garbage when it comes to science in this, but it wasn't meant to be a science movie. It was just meant to be James Bond in outer space. So I can allow for a little bit of it, even though I had to bitch and complain about it here. But this is my forum, so why wouldn't I? I think that it was definitely more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. But this was always one of my favorite ones as a kid. And so I guess I'm less surprised that I liked it more. I think the real test is going to be For Your Eyes Only to see if that one still holds up for me.
Yeah.
Because that one was literally my favorite Bond movie until the Daniel Craig era. And I don't think it's going to hold up as well as this one did. So that will be interesting to see when we get there.
We'll see. Yeah, For Your Eyes Only has good parts and bad parts too. I think production value is certainly better on this movie than For Your Eyes Only, just from a...
Oh my God, yes.
Thinking back in my memory about how For Your Eyes Only is versus this movie is, head and shoulders better. But
yeah, this one was like Goldfinger. It needed to have higher production values because there were layers.
Yes.
Just like You Only Live Twice, right? There's layers, and when there's evil layers involved, you have to have better design.
That's right. You got to go all out. But I liked it. I would watch it again. I will definitely watch this movie again.
Oh yeah. This one is definitely, it's in the pantheon of if I had to watch Roger Moore Bond movies, this one would definitely be a choice to watch.
Yes. But what do you think, tens of listeners of Moonraker? What is your take on this crazy adventure that we've just been on? As always, we are always looking for listener interaction to tell us how you like the movie that we just reviewed, the podcast that we are producing for you, or if you just have any other ideas out there that you want to throw at us, or just a nice recipe for some cake. We'll take whatever you got. Just send it our way. Who doesn't love cake? By email, we're cicjeddrop@gmail.com. On Instagram, we're Central Intelligence Cinema, separated by underscores. On Twitter, we are @CIC SpyPod, and there are a whole slew of other socials that we are on, and you can find the links to all of them at the bottom of the show description of every episode that we put out, including our link to our YouTube page, which now also has every episode of the podcast. So if you prefer to listen to your podcast on YouTube, we now have a page for that. We are searchable.
Yeah, buddy.
So, yeah. Any final words before we jettison out of an escape pod, Jason?
Negative Ghost Rider. The podcast is full.
Alrighty then. Well, with that, I'm Ben.
And I'm Jason.
And the CIC will return with more missions, more martinis,
and more mayhem.